It is Thursday, May 30th, 2013. My name is Kevin Ko, and for Trevor Angone, welcome to the first edition ever of the Angone and Ko Show. Trevor, it's nice to finally do this. We've been talking about this for a pretty long time.
We have, buddy. It's nice to finally get here in the booth. First show ever. Maybe be looking back on this day, few years in the future, and just see how far we've come from these SMC roots. So
hopefully we'll be doing that one day.
Crazy to get this going. Yeah, absolutely, man. So, hey, what are we going over today, man?
I mean, it's a great thing we started this thing in 2013 right before the summer starts, because we have a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot of things to talk about today. But we're going to keep it general. We're going to keep it down to two things. We're going to talk first and foremost about our Lakers. We're going to get to our Dodgers later, who are struggling mightily.
Because you just know that we're always going to bring you those LA topics. We're going over Kings, Lakers, Dodgers, maybe even, a little bit of Ducks or Angels once in a while, but mostly our OG LA squads representing the city of Angels. I think we were going to get in a little Phil Jackson over here, Ko?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. We're going to talk about some Phil Jackson today.
Right.
We're going to talk about the Lakers cap situation today.
Yep.
And I'm sick of talking about what we're going to talk about. I'm down to get started. You ready for this, man?
Let's do this.
All right, let's do this. First and foremost, Phil Jackson.
Phil.
This guy's been
our
around
boy
for as long as I can remember. I mean, you're a lot older than I am. But
a little bit.
When I started becoming a true diehard Lakers fan, that was in the 2000s.
Yep.
And then it just started from there. And Phil hasn't coached a minute. Hasn't coached a single second this year, and he's been the most talked about coach in the NBA.
Yeah, he hasn't coached a minute, but we can't go a day or two without hearing about him interviewing with Toronto or, maybe going to go up to Golden State. But to be honest, Ko, I mean, we know his girl is Jeannie Buss. I mean, what are the odds that this guy's going to go anywhere but the LA Lakers anytime in the next couple of years,
I'm actually... It didn't hit me until today. I've actually been contemplating this for quite a while. I was like, Phil, he can go to New York, he can go to Chicago. And it just hit me today, man. He's not going anywhere.
Right?
If he's not in LA,
No.
He's not going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
I'm just thinking about this. He's been making this case on Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio, on Colin Cowherd on ESPN Radio. He's been making these points about how the big man will never die in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about how small ball is cool right now. It's working right now, like teams like Miami and Oklahoma City. It's working for them. But if you have a Shaquille O'Neal, if you have a big dominant center, then you're going to take him. That's what he's been preaching. You think he's going to go to Miami and coach?
Phil is not going anywhere, man. Unless they make a team, unless the new expansion team is going to be in Montana, this guy isn't going anywhere that he doesn't own property, okay? What's the point? What's he going to go back to New York? I mean, originally last year, I actually thought that New York would be a cool spot for him. You got Carmelo trying to come into his own. They've been adding to the roster. You got Defensive Player of the Year, Tyson Chandler, Jay Smoove out there. It's a pretty good squad. J Kidd had a great year last year. I know this year in the playoffs didn't go too well for him, but I kind of saw that a little bit. He would never go down to Miami. Riley's got that job locked up. There's no reason for him to do any consulting down there at all. And as far as the other small market teams, just don't see it. I mean, I just don't see him going anywhere but, even Chicago, nowhere but, his home, which is the Los Angeles Lakers. It's just going to be probably a matter of time.
I'm just going to get into Phil Jackson's head for a little bit, because I think I know exactly what happened throughout this year. Early in the season, we thought there was a legitimate shot that Phil could actually coach. Now it seems that most of the talk is about Phil joining the front office, doing a Pat Riley type of role, not specifically coaching. And I really think I know why. Before the season started, Mike Brown, he was the coach coming in, got fired after 5 games. Phil Jackson was the talk of the town. And it was... presumably, everyone knew that Phil was going to be hired. Even Phil has come out and said, I thought I was going to get the job. I think that was the only job Phil wanted. And I don't think he wants the job anymore. I think he realized, coming in, he was like, I can get Dwight Howard. I can get Pau Gasol. I can get Steve Nash. I can get Kobe Bryant. I can get these guys to run the triangle. Yep. These guys are all-stars. They're going to be good. And he just saw the ship blow up this year. And I think he says, damn, is this coaching thing really for me, man?
Right.
I really don't know. He was about to come into the situation. Who knew if he could have fixed it with the injuries, with the drama between Kobe and Dwight? And I'm just thinking, what a year. Could Phil Jackson really have avoided all of that?
Yeah, you know what? Let's go through a little flow chart right here. Let's go through some of the possibilities that would make sense, or just the likelihoods of scenarios regarding Phil, Dwight, D'Antoni. If the Lakers want Phil, it's going to be because they really want to keep Dwight. And it's funny because us Laker fans, like we were talking about earlier, Ko, we honestly don't even feel like Dwight is a member of the family. We don't really think he belongs out here. Look at the look on the guy's face the whole season. It makes you sick as a Laker fan because you're giving the guy, like $20 million to play for 1 year. And he's, throwing it back in your face, talking trash to Kupchak while he's leaving the final game after he gets ejected. I mean, just not our style, okay?
And this whole free agency fiasco, it's not helping him either.
Not working out.
I know it's not working out.
No. And now as far as if the Lakes really want Dwight, which is kind of beyond a lot of us, then that means they have to get rid of D'Antoni. But getting rid of D'Antoni means that they would have to eat the $8 million or so left on his contract over the next 2 years, and that's after already paying an estimated $40 to $60 million in luxury tax.
Yeah.
That's after already maxing out, the cap that they have available to them. And now who's running the team now? Our boy Jerry Buss, he was the man forever.
Exactly.
He was almost like a sports father to a lot of us, but he's not around anymore. Now it's Jim, and, traditionally we know that Jim isn't, the biggest fan of ponying up and going over the cap and just eating money. These guys want to make money. They're on record as saying they want to make money, so... Yeah. I mean, it's just it's gonna take a little bit of time to see. It's that classic dance that we saw with LeBron. Does the team want to fire the coach that's in place right now before the star makes his decision? Because Dwight's pretty much on record as saying he doesn't want to play for D'Antoni.
Yeah, but Trev, there's only one huge difference. This isn't LeBron James we're talking about.
No,
this is a Dwight Howard
I agree.
Who had a bad injury last year, a bad back injury, had a shoulder injury in the middle of the season. Back and shoulders for a big man who is obviously deteriorating, and we've already seen his prime. That's what everyone says. Everyone knows. I'm pretty sure Dwight Howard knows too. He's hit his prime because all of his career, he doesn't have a go-to move. He doesn't have extraordinary post skills. He's an athletic big man who made his career by jumping higher than everyone else, being able to dunk harder than everyone else, and just being an athletic freak. And when you lose that athleticism, what do you have, Dwight Howard? What do you have? You're LeBron. You're not LeBron James in this situation.
No.
I think what we were talking about earlier, this is our dream situation. I just have to bring this up real quick. Dwight added Golden State to his little... He has a little...
His quote-unquote list?
An unofficial list that features Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, L.A. He has this list. Golden State has apparently joined that list. Now, if I look at the situation, I'm thinking if you're the Lakers, wow, we've hit gold. We've hit gold. I've been listening to these radio circuits, ESPN, KLAC, and they're just saying... Oh, well, you would never do that. You got to keep Dwight. You got to keep... What in the world are you talking about?
What are they talking about? I know.
Because we can segue this right into free agency, but you can get because there's 3 guys on Golden State that have huge expiring contracts.
Yeah.
There's Richard Jefferson, there's Andrew Bogut, and there's Andre Biedrins. I say you take Richard Jefferson, you take Biedrins, who are coming off in 2014 when we know there's free agents all over the place.
Yeah.
And you package in a Harrison Barnes or a Klay Thompson, and I think Golden State would be more willing to give up Harrison Barnes because they like the Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry.
And Curry ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, definitely not. You package that for Dwight Howard, and then if you're the Lakers, you amnesty Metta World Peace.
Yeah.
You have a starting lineup of Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant, Harrison Barnes. If you re-sign Earl Clark, you could have him at the 4, or you could sign someone else, and you have Pau Gasol playing the 5. I'm not feeling too shabby about that lineup.
No, it's a good lineup. I think the only problem is, with Kobe going in his last couple of seasons, is he going to want to go through the, piling up of expiring contracts? He wants to win, and so, honestly, I think, to close out the whole Phil Jackson thing, Phil belongs in L.A. He belongs with us. He wanted to coach here last year. We really screwed it up. If we wouldn't have said anything about Phil, the D'Antoni hire would have just been amazing. But we had to bring Phil into it, so we look like the losers in the end of the whole situation by not getting him. But actually, when it comes down to it, if we're not going to get Dwight, there's no need to get rid of D'Antoni, eat his $8 million, and get Phil, because Kobe likes D'Antoni. He's on record as being fine with D'Antoni, and right now, if D12's on the way out, Kobe's all that matters. So, but it's kind of either way, we're fine with D'Antoni, so to speak, right now, and who can be angry if you ever bring Phil back? It's pretty cut and dry. The last thing we'll maybe go over as far as the Lakers are concerned for this season. I know we're talking about sign and trade and stuff like that, but with or without Dwight. I mean, personally, I think we should just let Dwight walk, hold on to Powell, hold on to Nash, Kobe, obviously, go through that next season will be the last season of all their big contracts. And then Powell comes off the books, maybe re-sign him for $7 or $8 million. Kobe comes off the year after, I think, and that's $30 million a year.
Yeah.
But as soon as Powell comes off, I think that's the last year in Nash's contract. So there's a lot of money that's going to open up. Now, before all that money opens up, we're going to, Laker fans are going to want to do something this offseason. Now, the one void that we, keep seeing for the last 15 years, it seems like, is point guard. How many good point guards has Kobe played with? Smush Parker. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, like we're the team that got so desperate for a point guard that we just grew in complete harmony as a city because Ramon Sessions came over here.
Exactly.
We just went up in arms for this guy. And it's Ramon Sessions we're talking about in LA.
And it just shows you how starved we are, because when we got Ramon Sessions, I was ecstatic. I
Me
thought
too,
I thought it was great.
I understand it because we got no point guards
exactly
in the longest time.
Hey, as far as point guards, I'm going to throw some names out at you. Think them over for a second and throw me back some thoughts, okay? Jeff Teague, unrestricted free agent. Devin Harris, little older, unrestricted free agent. DJ Augustine, I think biggest name out there right now, unrestricted free agent, doing work with the Pacers. You think that he might command a little bit too much money. And then last but not least, Sebastian Telfair, who's one of your dark horses.
I would love to see DJ Augustine in a Lakers uniform.
I would too.
I mean, I've been following him since he was at Texas, actually.
Was it Texas?
Yeah, it was Texas. He played it.
It wasn't Kentucky?
He played over at Austin
I thought
in
he
Texas.
played with...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He is a Longhorn.
Okay.
He is a Longhorn. I followed him, and man, he could score in college. He was cool. He came into the NBA, wasn't quite what everyone thought he would be, but he's been doing really well off the bench as a backup point guard. And you know what the Lakers need right now? A backup point guard!
Jeez, give me one finally.
Yes. Sebastian Telfair, man, this guy's 27. Everyone talks about how people hit the prime of their careers when they're 27, or when they get from 27 to 28, 29. And it's the late 20s. I still can't get over the fact that this guy hasn't panned out. I watch this guy play. He can get to the hole. He can make his jump shots every now and then. He's not the most consistent guy, but if I want someone off the bench, I mean, please, the most inconsistent player in the NBA, J.R. Smith, just won the 6th Man of the Year award.
Jeez, come on.
I want to see what Sebastian Telfair can do, and I think we can get him for cheap.
I don't disagree, and I think those are a lot of really good points on the Lakers, Co. Now, staying in the city of Los Angeles, man, it's tough to even bring up this topic and talk about it. Dude, what the heck is going on with the Dodgers, man? I mean, come on. Our payroll, come on, it's probably the biggest in the league. We're the last team in the NL West. We're talking about the Padres, the Padres.
So check this out. The Dodgers. They literally are the Yankees of the West.
We were supposed to be.
They literally have the second highest payroll, only behind the Yankees.
The Yankees, yeah.
In baseball, they have the second highest payroll.
You can tell when I'm really perturbed when my voice starts to get real squeaky. I know.
You don't do that often, but I know I gotta back up a little bit when you do that.
Dude, they're very disturbing. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about what's been going on, man. The best part about this Dodgers season has been individual performances.
I know, it's like you can get happy about a home run during a game, and you're like, "Oh, my season rules," It's just like,
as a Dodger fan, I'm hanging on to this. I'm hanging on to Clayton Kershaw's gonna win the Cy Young Award this year, and Hyunjin Ryu, my Korean brother,
right? He's supposed to just be doing work. He had a good outing the other day, but still, consistency,
If he does, but I'm just saying, if he doesn't get Rookie of the Year, I don't know who would in the National League.
Man,
I think because this guy, he's surprised me. He has a 2.89 ERA. He's 6-2 with 67 strikeouts.
6-2 is not bad, but it's
for the Dodgers.
Yeah,
with the run support he's getting, I think that's awesome.
It's NL MVP material. Come on. Now, in addition to that, every single day there's a player that's scratched. It's either Gonzo or Crawford or Kemp or Ellis or Greinke's injured for a month. Dude, what is up with our conditioning? Do we need to do a conditioning coach, or do we just have to do what everybody else in the world's talking about and just get rid of Mattingly already?
I think that's the one thing you and I disagree about.
Yeah?
The Mattingly situation. I think I talked about this with you like a month ago.
We did, yeah. And you know where I come at. He's got to go. Yeah, he's not doing anything for me.
So, I guess it's just me because I like Mattingly.
Mm-hmm.
I like how he's a player's coach. He is Donnie Baseball. He has that. He has that respect level.
He does.
But there's this notion of maybe the guy's just been there too long, and it's just his charisma, his thing, whatever his coaching thing is. Maybe it's just ran out.
You know what? There's just a couple of things that stick out to me. You know, Mattingly, he's a Torrey guy. Torrey was brought in by McCourt. Yeah. McCourt's an East Coast guy. Torrey came over to the Dodgers. You know, we went to a couple of NL championships, but then we got schooled by the Phillies 2 years in a row. So it's like, you know, what did you really do for me? He's a product of Torrey, and what has he done his entire tenure? I mean, what has he done for us except for ostracize Ethier the last month or so? Ethier is one of our homegrown guys. He should have been NL Rookie of the Year. You know, same thing with, you know, funny enough, that rookie year where Kemp, Ethier, Loney, and Bills all came in together. Ethier was in Rookie of the Year contention, while Matt Kemp nobody even heard of because he didn't do anything. You know, so I mean, you don't come in to L.A., mess with one of our homegrown guys who we just gave a contract to. I think it was last season, about 4 or 5 years.
Okay, but
you know, what are you thinking?
Yeah, but you and I are gonna have to disagree about that because that contract we gave him, I think, was ridiculous.
Yeah, no, big. You know, I feel like it was what good money spent. You know, Ethier. You know, look at the beginning of the season. Other than Crawford and Gonzalez, I mean, with Kemp freaking tanking the entire first 3-4 months of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been one of the only, you know, bright spots. I mean, especially with all the scratches, at least he scratches, you know, less than half of the other guys, you know?
Yeah. You know, Ethier. There's always been a rap about this guy that he doesn't quite have the work ethic.
Or he doesn't have that fervor, that spark, you know, that fire, I guess, you know. And I can see that.
There's reports literally coming out of the locker room that people think, and I quote this when I heard this, he's too cool for school. Yeah. He just thinks he's a level above everyone else.
Well, you know, if we ever have him on the show, you know, I've heard him interviewed a couple of times around the city, and he comes off a little cool for school. Yeah. But I mean, you know, the guy's had a great career so far, and you know, if you look back at all of his seasons, he had a great rookie year. He hasn't had any necessarily like blow up all-star years, but the guy hasn't had any, oh my God, what the heck is happening to you, Matt Kemp streaks. You know, I mean, at least he'll stay somewhat consistent. You know,
he's been actually one of the more consistent players in possibly the past, I could say, 6 years. Mm-hmm. It's just this year he's fallen off completely.
Yeah.
And you got to think, I got to side with you here, Trev. Maybe it is because of Mattingly.
Yeah.
Why is it that this year this guy's just falling off? We're talking last year he hit 284. Before that, 292, 305, 284, 300 again.
Yeah, right.
This guy knows what to do, but you got to admit, he can't hit left-handed pitching as well as he can hit right-handed pitching. Yeah. Come on.
No, trust me. There's definitely a void there.
I know you love some Ethier, but you got to admit that, Trevor. Come on.
It's definitely tough for him for that side of the plate. Absolutely. But I'll tell you what, man. Overall, I swear, if the freaking Giants win another World Series, I'm going to have to start reading Do Not Kill Yourself books, okay? It's just like, I can't take it anymore. 2 out of the last 3 years? And they're such just trash talkers, the fans, and I can't stand it, talking about flying planes over our stadium opening day. Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm coming up to the edge, man. I can't handle this anymore.
No, you know what actually happened is I've been to San Francisco a couple of times up. Last year was the first time where I was wearing a Dodgers shirt. I was wearing my Vince Scully shirt, and people looked at me. They didn't harass me. They didn't yell at me. They just laughed.
Yeah?
Because
they
there
know
were
what
banners
we're going through?
everywhere
I know.
that said World Series champions.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't say a thing. And it drives me crazy. You know, and every time I think Giants, you know who I think? Juan Uribe.
Yeah.
Juan Uribe. That's the one guy I think.
No, I feel you, brother. Hey, well, thank God for the Lakers and the Kings bringing us a little championship glory the last few years. You know, you can always count on our Lakes, and you know, with the Kings breaking that streak recently, and then in their middle of this awesome run right now in the 2013 playoffs, you know, at least a little interesting stuff for us Angelinos to watch in the meantime, Ko.
Definitely. Well, I think we talked about everything we needed to talk about.
Yeah, a couple of good topics, covered. I think we did a great job, Ko. Any final thoughts on either topic here?
Lakers, last thought I have to say about the Lakers is no matter what happens in this city, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on Twitter hashtagging We Want Phil. I'm going to be in Staples Center yelling We Want Phil. As for the Dodgers, man, I'm not all too worried that much is because the guys that are doing good are guys that we didn't think would do good. Nick Punto, Scott Van Slyke, Crawford.
Yeah. Puig?
Yeah. Puig is doing really good in the minors.
Yeah.
As long as the guys that do what they're supposed to do what they do every year, as long as they catch up, we'll be fine.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
I agree, brother. Yeah, no, the same thing, you know. As far as the Dodgers, you know, if we keep having these crazy injuries, depending on how Matt Kemp's, how long he's out, you know, we know he just injured himself last night. Maybe bring up Puig, see what he's got. I know he was killing it in spring ball, and you know, so maybe see what the kid's got. You know, other than that, you know, if there's no D12, there's no need for Phil. You know, I'm right there with you. Give me Phil any day, any year, any time, and you know, I'm just gonna be, just super, super stoked. The number one, though, in my mind, as far as the Lakers are concerned, no need for D12. The guy, just a waste of money as far as I'm concerned. Spend the money the year after on K-Love. Who knows? Even make a crazy run at LeBron if he's even interested.
Paul George is available.
Hey, who knows? Unrestricted or restricted, either way.
Yep. Well, it is Thursday, May 30th, 2013. This was the first ever edition of the Angone and Ko Show. Many, many more to come. Keep up with us when we will be back next week. All your Los Angelino news anytime. All the best sports topics. Catch us once a week on our pod. Where are we blogging nowadays, Ko? I have a blog called The Sideline Bleachers. It's www.sidelinebleachers.com. At Twitter, at TSB_sports. That's at Twitter. At Twitter. It's Twitter at Twitter. It's at TSB_sports. I could put it there, but, we could put this podcast anywhere, man. Hey, catch us there. Catch us next week going over all your Los Angeles topics. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.